Hello, and welcome to Bolt Action Reloading. In this week's episode, we'll be again working with our Thompson Center Compass chambered in .300 Winchester Magnum, along with David Tubbs' Final Finish system. Stick around. Welcome back to the channel. If this is your first time here and you'd like to see how I and the rest of you here make our group smaller, start now by subscribing to the channel and hitting the bell icon. That way you can get notified when I post next week's video and you won't miss anything. Guys, welcome back. Today we'll be covering the David Tubbs Final Finish system and how it's going to end up working with our Thompson Center Compass rifle. This may seem like an odd combination, but just hang in there and we'll go over kind of the reasons why we're going to do it. And I'm going to try and walk you guys along the entire process along the way, just in case you might want to try this sometime yourself. Obviously, this is not restricted to Thompson Center Compass or anything like that. There are many calibers that are offered. I will put some photos on the screen as we go along here to give you an idea what the product looks like, maybe some idea of what the calibers that are actually offered in this, and decide for yourself. One thing that's important in case you're unaware, there is some loaded ammunition available depending on what your caliber is if you're not a reloader and you'd just like to run this process on your rifle. As you can obviously tell, this is advertised as a bore polishing process that you can do yourself, hoping for increased velocity, reduced fouling, improved uniformity of your barrel, the slogan being, it's a better barrel in a box. As you can probably see on the screen, right now, at least at the making of this video, available in rifle calibers of .204, .224, obviously 5.56, .243 or 6mm, .25, .264, which is 6.5mm, .270, .284 or 7mm, .308, 7.62mm, .303, .323, .338, .358, .375, .450-70, and several pistol calibers of .357, 9mm 38 Special, .357 Magnum, 40 or 10mm, 44 and 45. Today's video we're specifically talking about the 308 version, and we're going to be loading this in .300 Winchester Magnum. All in all, the directions for this are pretty simple, and I'm going to try and walk you guys along the way. So I really encourage you to stick around. I'm going to try and give you the best views I can kind of before and after, give you some performance numbers, and I'm sure we'll follow up on this as the project goes along. And if you follow the channel here, you're going to see how this rifle shoots as we keep moving forward. Now, before we talk about exactly how to do it, maybe we should talk a little bit about why we're doing it. If you haven't been following the project here on the channel, we really haven't had spectacular success. We have found if we move the projectiles a little closer to lands, we have found some accuracy there. However, I will show you one of the primary reasons why I am moving forward with this David Tubbs final finishing system on our rifle. And that is exactly how bad the copper fouling is in this rifle. Let me just walk you through some of the video. Kind of comparing what the clean barrel looks like to the copper foul barrel, you can see after not really a whole lot of rounds through this rifle, certainly less than 200, I think really closer to around 150 is what round count we're on through the rifle now. The copper fouling really is way worse than I've expected with as fewer rounds are actually on it at this time. Along with that, now I realize I'd love to give you guys a little bit better video, but this is the borescope that I have and this is the resolution that it records in. Hopefully it's going to be good enough to make our point as we go along. But as you can see, there's certainly the Thompson Center Compass barrel. And again, I'm not complaining here. I realize this is a $200 rifle and you should expect some of this. But you can obviously see some significant markings in the barrel. I'm really hoping after running this system, we're going to be able to see a real difference in how the rifling looks inside the barrel and especially how the barrel performs. Not to beat this too far to death, but with the velocity testing we've done up into this point, we really have actually had a much faster rifle than I have expected. This rifle has pretty much performed above velocity for every single load that we've tested with it. In fact, the last Retumbo load, if you guys have seen that video already, realistically, its min load was actually already shooting over the max projected velocity for that powder string. All in all, significant copper fouling, really haven't had spectacular accuracy. There's a lot of good reviews on this product. And if you haven't heard of David Tubbs, you really haven't been looking at the shooting industry very long. Certainly a known name. And if you're willing to put your name on something, that really should say a lot. So I'm willing to give it a try. So if you haven't seen the picture on the screen, this is David Tubbs' final finish system. Essentially, what there are is 5 different compounds. Compound 1 is the most aggressive, going and obviously progressing down just as if you were sanding wood. We're going to less aggressive compounds as we go down. The last compound, number 5, is actually the boron coating that he uses with some of his other projectiles that he sells. And in fact, I will attest to my 6mm. I've run some of those, and just running those in the rifle actually has sped it up. Despite my best efforts, I'm going to follow the directions as best I can and try and deviate almost as little as possible. I've actually stripped this barrel completely. I'm going to do a baseline shot with some factory ammo that I've got. We're going to run the final finish system through it. As we shoot, try and take video so you can see as we run the different compounds how the barrel looks, see if there's any significant differences. But before we shoot it, we've got to reload it. What we're doing today, this is Winchester brass. I have not fired it yet. This needs fire formed. And basically with today's test, that's what we'll be doing. This isn't a very hot load per the directions, but that's just what we're going to do. If I didn't show you on the screen already, these are 175 grain 308 projectiles. So we are looking at Sierra's data today with the 175 grain Sierra Match King. As far as choosing a load, I'll put the directions on the screen so you guys can kind of read through all of it to your heart's content. I'm not going to read everything to you. To make it as quick as possible, I will tell you need to start with a clean barrel. They talk about cleaning every 10 rounds. We're going to do that, of course. The load that we're going to load today is a mild, safe starting load. And basically just went to Sierra's data, since this is 175 grain Sierra Match King, I believe, and went for that data. Now you can obviously see Alliance Reloader 16 is the powder that we're going to be using today. Sierra's data actually starts around 60.1 grains. We're not going to shoot the bare minimum. This goes well above 70 grains for its max load. We're going to be shooting at 61 grains today, so just a little bit off of the floor. And in fact, our estimated velocity, should we believe their data, and we were actually shooting just normal projectiles, this load would project a velocity of approximately 2,665 feet per second. Like I mentioned, Winchester brass on its first firing, needed to fire it somehow, was debating on how we were going to fire form it. I just decided this is how we were going to do it. The Fed 215M primers will be igniting our load today. And now for where we start our controversy. Basically, according to the directions, it recommends to seat the bullets to an overall cartridge length that duplicates factory loading. Don't seat the bullets into the lands. Use the same load for all steps in the final finish process. We will be using all of the same load. However, if you've been following along with this project, you'll know the throat in this barrel is exceptionally long, and loading at 3.34 inches, which is where Sammy's maximum is going to be a significant distance off the lands. So we're actually going to convert that into something a little bit more reasonable. I took out my Hornady modified case and measured my distance to the lands, and that's going to put our overall length just over magazine length at 3.457 inches, and there's cartridge base to ogive of somewhere between 2.879 and 2.880 inches. Making sure we pull that off, we've found some pretty good accuracy at 20 thousandths off the lands. Not that we're shooting for accuracy today, because it says vividly in the directions, don't shoot for accuracy. We're going to be loading to 2.859 CBTO, so at least a good 20 thousandths off the lands, where so far we've found the most consistency with the rifle, just because along the way I'm going to give you a little more data than we bargained for. Because honestly, you're probably watching this video because you'd like to know how it works, so that's exactly what I'm going to try and show you today. Along the way, we're going to be measuring velocity on our loads, try and show you what the barrel looks like every 10 rounds, if again I can pull that off. Give you a baseline velocity to begin with some factory ammo, and afterward, and see what our groups look like. We've kind of gone over the load data, guys. That's exactly what we're going to do. The basics after we get this loaded, we're going to fire 10 of compound 1. We're going to clean it, hopefully give you guys a video. 10 of compound 2, clean it, see how it goes as a video. And if I can, I'll show you group sizes along the way, just for fun. Obviously not shooting for groups today. We're going to measure the velocities just because we can. Just see, as we shoot these compounds, how things exactly work. I would like to give you an idea of exactly where the throat is going to start and end. One of the major downsides of this is more than likely we're going to expect that throat's going to extend out even further, which is the biggest negative, in my opinion, for my particular rifle. I have really no interest in moving the throat any further. It is so far out already that it's very difficult to find the lands. This rifle really isn't shooting good at all with factory ammunition. This kit might not change that whatsoever. There's only one way to find out, and we're going to pick the $200 rifle to see what happens. One more thing before we move on to the next step. Magic step number 5, which I'm sure I've put on your screen by now, specifies actually starting at number 3 and not shooting the numbers 1 and 2 if you have a quote-unquote good barrel. Their definition of good might be different than everybody else's. I'm not going to blatantly state that this is a bad barrel, but I'm going to use the entire compound system on this rifle just to show you guys what you can expect and see what happens. I don't particularly consider this to be a good barrel, and I will say, at least at Sammy's spec, this is not shooting groups that I would be proud of. So let's get loading. So guys, obviously we've skipped a couple steps at this point. Basically, What we've done is completely full-length sized our brass, which honestly in this case has only redone the neck. We've actually used our Sinclair expander mandrel to open up the case mouths to try and get the neck tension as consistent as we possibly can. Probably not needed so much for this particular loading, but it's kind of my standard process, so that's what we've done. Used the turning mandrel from Sinclair that's going to put our neck tension at exactly 2 thousandths. In this particular case, when we full-length size it, we didn't want to push the shoulder back any further. The shoulder's going to end up blowing out at least 12 thousandths from its factory size to get to our chamber size, and so I didn't want to make that any worse. We'll basically have all these even at the next round. These have been primed, full-length size, neck tension's been set. We've actually chamfered the inside of the case mouth, and all these have actually been charged with our 61 grains of Reloader 16. Everything's ready to go. Bullet seating is really the only thing we need to do. Particularly, we're going to be using our Forester die that we've procured. Certainly doesn't need to be this die, but that's what we're going to do to dial in our seating depth as quickly as we possibly can. So, starting off with our first compound and our most aggressive. So we've done a couple rounds, and hopefully you can see we've dialed right in on that 2.859 inch CBTO. So we're basically not going to do anything real exciting. We're going to go load systems 1 through 5. Then we'll get out to the range. So as you might have figured out, we've already been out to the range and back already. I do have some footage, so make sure you stick around. But we're going to go over exactly what we did, in the order that we did it, and hopefully it'll make some sense. Just to make sure we're perfectly clear, the shooting conditions for today were 42 degrees Fahrenheit, 28.56 inches of mercury, 48% relative humidity, with a density altitude of 538 feet. Now, as I mentioned I was going to in the beginning of the video, we did use our Federal Gold Medal Match 190 grain Sierra Match King loads as our ruler for today's tests. Please keep in mind that when we began this test, we actually started with a perfectly clean barrel. So no fouling at all, and had a patch run through it, so oiled, wet, or whatever you want to call it. Let's go out to range, take a quick look at that, and then we'll see where we're starting from. As you can see, we followed right along. Honestly, if you measure the group, it's 1.680 MOA. Not horrible overall. Certainly not the worst factory ammo that we've shot through this barrel, or reloads for that matter either. Just because I'm sure you want to know the data, the 5-shot velocity average was 29.22 feet per second, standard deviation of 19.3 with an extreme spread of 50. To be a little bit more fair to the load, I would like to exclude the first shot that was taken for obvious reasons. The 4-shot average velocity was 29.30, standard deviation of 8.26, with an extreme spread of only 20 feet per second. Certainly fairly reasonable when looking at the 4-shot information. Here's what we'll call the whose line is it anyway version of our shooting for today. As our final finishing system directions told us, the groups don't matter, but we'll watch them just for fun. So let's go out to range, look at compound 1. So that was compound 1, guys. It shot a 2.1 MOA group. We're going to roll some footage of the barrel while we're talking about the statistics. The barrel that's been exposed to compound 1 will be on the right. Our baseline barrel will be on the left, and that's be the same barrel footage that we're going to run against every compound as we go along. So the estimated velocity, keep in mind, was 2665 feet per second. Our achieved velocity was 2628, standard deviation of 23.7 with an extreme spread of 70 feet per second. Certainly nothing exciting. That 2.1 MOA group, nothing to chat about. I will apologize that I probably should have put something over the end of the barrel to minimize the exterior light entering the barrel. I think you guys are still going to be able to get an idea of what's being done to the barrel during each one of these strings as it's shot. So hopefully with compound 1 over, we'll take a quick trip back out and go shoot compound 2. So hopefully that was interesting. You can see that the overall actual 10-shot group would have been 2.464 MOA. The 9-shot group would have been 1.642 MOA. Again, just excluding the worst shot. Take it as you will. Again, remember guys, the groups don't matter. We'll start rolling that barrel footage as soon as we can. And you'll see again, same standard comparison how we started on the left. The barrel exposed to compound 2 on the right as we take a trip down the barrel just to take a look. Compound 2 velocity, we actually dropped off to 25.97 on average. Standard deviation dropped to 14.8 over the 10 rounds. Extreme spread dropped to 56 feet per second. Like we said, the only, if you want to pick up the 1-shot group being 1.642 MOA, 2.64 MOA was the 10-shot. Keep in mind, we've had some 5-shot groups that I've shot with this gun that are well over 2 inches. Certainly not going to complain about it, but again, these are not being shot for accuracy. So hopefully you're seeing as we move along the difference in the barrel. I wish my borescope was a little bit better, but it's what we got, and I think that the change will be at least slightly apparent as we go along. So let's go shoot compound 3. So the group tightened up a little bit, 1.644 MOA group here. We'll move right on to the barrel footage again. Same barrel before we started on the left, traveling down our exposed to compound 3 on the right. The velocity for this group was 2609 feet per second. Standard deviation was 24.7 with extreme spread of 81. We did open right back up with our statistics, but our group was, our 10-shot group was smaller than the last one, so nothing to really complain about there when it at least comes to group size anyway. And again, as compound 3 rolls down the barrel here, you can see as the barrel is being exposed to these bullets, the changes that are going on. So let's go shoot compound 4. So guys, this one's going to be quick because somehow the cameraman hit the wrong button and we didn't actually get video post compound 4. I certainly apologize for that. We will pick it up after compound 5. That was a 1.66 MOA group. Velocity picked back up slightly to 2615 feet per second. Again, 24.5 standard deviation, extreme spread of 91, nothing really spectacular to talk about. Just fire the cameraman. Moving on then, let's go shoot compound 5. Keep in mind that Compound 5 is really that boron coated bullets with the same coating that the bullets you can buy from David Tubbs' website that add that slick surface. Certainly didn't improve any of the statistics, kind of all over the place. The overall group on that was 1.801 MOA. Group opened up slightly, but the statistics certainly did as well. We'll roll through the barrel here one more time, and you can see what that final finish looks like. Certainly a significant difference between the Compound 3 and Compound 5 runs. Low, obviously I'm not showing you that as we go along. But as you can see, there's significant difference from how we started down this barrel to where we're at right now. But you can see that the Compound has made a difference along the way here. Compound 5 statistics was 2621 feet per second. The standard deviation was 43.9 with extreme spread of 139. So pretty darn high. 50 shot average of the whole string was 2614, standard deviation of 28.87 with an extreme spread of 139, which was what we got out of our last Compound. Put the quick graph on the screen. You guys can take a look to your heart content. Keep in mind, this is going in order of shots. So, first 10 was Compound 1 and so on. Nothing really exciting there, but what we really wanted to see, what the whole point of this video is, right, is did it really improve our groups any? So we might as well take our final trip out to the range today and see what happens. So guys, welcome back, and there she is. So those 190 grain Sierra Match Kings flying down the barrel again. Keep in mind that this was clean between every single round. So again, first shot I do think is reasonable to eliminate from the data. Not that that's really going to affect our groups any. If you want to know the 5-shot average, the 5-shot average is 2935 feet per second. Standard deviation of 21.5, extreme spread of 51. Really a testament to Federal's Gold Medal Match ammo, if you ask me. Removing that first shot, the 4-shot average is again an identical 2930 feet per second, the same exact 8.26 standard deviation, and 20 foot per second extreme spread. So what really changed? The velocity sure didn't, but the group did. Our second group was 1.213 MOA. Remembering our initial group was actually 1.68 MOA. So I'm not going to say that one group is going to confirm success with this. However, with the little bit of test that we did, it does seem like there is some improvement. Certainly getting similar velocity numbers here, can't really complain about that. It didn't seem to speed it up any like the direction said that it might, but I'll certainly take the group size reduction. Certainly one of the better groups that we've ever had with factory ammo in this rifle. Keeping in mind, these are still a very significant distance off the lands, and that's really what's left to talk about. I'll be honest, when I'm recording this video, I wasn't smart enough to have the data in front of me, but I'm going to put it up there. I'll put the list on the screen of the bullets we've been working with so far and see how far it pushed those lands out. Whether that's going to matter to you is something you're going to have to think about. I know that was one of the possible side effects of using this system in our barrel. Keep in mind, if you'd only ran 3 through 5, these numbers would probably be less, but what they would be, I can't really tell you, but it's a sacrifice we made to see if we could get some more accuracy in our rifle. So guys, like always, I'll have to leave the decision up to you. If you think that 0.467 MOA group reduction was due to our bore polishing system, by all means, fully credit it. But as we go on here on the channel, I encourage you to stick around, subscribe if you haven't already. We're certainly going to do some testing post this treatment on the barrel. Certainly hoping it cleans up a lot easier. Really hoping to get some better accuracy out of this rifle, but further testing will only tell. Keep in mind, I'll probably be publishing these videos somewhat out of order, so the next couple videos that come out still might have the baseline velocity numbers from before we ran this on the rifle, but before we shot any more real loads for group, I wanted to get this done to give this rifle the best chance to shoot. Like in all our tests, keep in mind we were running minimum loads. I'll put a real quick shot of the brass on the screen. Nothing really to see here in any way, shape, or form. But if you're used to seeing the shots from this, you'll see that basically it still has the same flattened primers and a little bit of primer clearing that we see all the way up on our velocity test, all the way at max. I still do have 10 rounds of my Federal Gold Medal Match left, and I'm probably going to do a video on the rest of those, but I wanted to make sure I got some good copper fouling left in the barrel to give that factory ammo the best chance to shoot. I thought it might be fun to actually try and clone this load, so I did buy some 190 grain Sierra Match Kings just to see what we could do with that. I figured Federal must know something if this is going to be their gold medal match line. I figured we would try and give it a try, though I don't think we're going to stick to that overall length unless we really feel like being masochists. Anyway, there you have it, guys. I hope you enjoyed today's video. If you have any comments or questions, please post those in the comments section below. I'll do my best to answer anything that I can. If you liked today's video, please hit the like button. If you want to see how this project continues on our channel, please subscribe to the channel. Hit the bell icon so you'll get notified when I post next week's video. Until then, stay safe in small groups.